This is the SaveHeart Stories podcast. Real-life stories of lives saved and changed due to sudden cardiac arrest and the availability of life-saving AED devices. Because one life lost is too many, these stories matter. Here's your host, Dave Fritzsche.
Good morning and welcome to SaveHeart Stories. Here we tell stories of survival and of loss from sudden cardiac arrest, the number one natural cause of death in the United States. We tell these stories so that we can pay it forward and others can learn how to recognize sudden cardiac arrest, the importance of CPR and AED placement, and to help others so that people don't have to experience the loss that unfortunately many people do. We always learn from these stories. As the saying goes, if we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it. And we are very, very lucky, as we always are here, to have some wonderful guests today for our audience to meet. Trey Mobley suffered cardiac arrest on December 11th, 2023. And luckily, through the help of great staff at the athletic facility he was at, by the grace of God, he was saved, and he's here to tell his story and share that with us. And his wife, Karen Sheets-Mobley, has really been a ball of energy that I've met over the past year, making a difference in their local Louisville community and placing AEDs, advocating for awareness of sudden cardiac arrest and AED and CPR use. So we're lucky to have you both here today, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Well, Trey, again, even though we haven't met, I feel like I know you through my meeting Karen almost a year ago. And now that I meet you, we could be brothers from another mother by this. We could be twins.
Yes.
I swear we didn't play in the same glasses and everything. But, as I always say, bald is beautiful too. Trey, what a wonderful story that I've come to know, and we'd love to have others now learn. So walk us through, you get up in the morning of December 11th, 2023. You're in pretty good shape. You go to the gym, which I imagine is a regular occurrence for you, and tell us what happens.
A little bit of a different occurrence for me because I play soccer somewhat regularly, but I'd had a hernia repair surgery and so couldn't play for a couple months and was cleared to play at the end of the week. So I thought I would get a little cardio in, that morning to kind of prepare to be back on the pitch, so to speak.
Yes.
So I went to the gym and was going really hard at it and collapsed with a cardiac arrest. I had no clue that I was in danger of having a cardiac arrest. Like I said, I'd been playing soccer, other than when I couldn't because of medical or other scheduling reasons, once or twice a week for decades, and had recently been complimented on my endurance on the field. But I did have some family history of cardiac disease, which I probably hadn't been paying as much attention to as I should have. But yeah, so I collapsed and
you were on the treadmill, was it, or the bike? Or
I was on a treadmill.
Yeah.
There's a local swim club that also has a gym. So it was in December, in the middle of the winter. So the main pool was closed, but they have a bubble in the winter. And so, so very fortunate to be at a place where they were ready to deal with an emergency.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The real lucky thing is that I didn't have the arrest on next Saturday morning when I would have been, out on the pitch and
Right.
No AED in the vicinity easily available. I mean, there is one there, but it's in a building that's
Probably locked up or far away.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't get me started, Dave.
We want to get you started, Karen. You're doing great work.
You bet I'll get started. But one of the really cool things about Trey's story at Lakeside, though, was that there was another member there who didn't recognize him. This was like at 9:30 in the morning. So everybody has a kind of routine. Everybody knows everybody. And they're like, we don't know this dude. And he came up to Trey and said, "Hey, you look like you're going kind of hard." And Trey's like, "I'm fine. I'm great."
Yeah.
And so he was kind of watching him and saw him go down.
Mm-hmm.
And so this gentleman was on him. He learned CPR through his office, was on him within minutes or seconds.
Yeah.
And starting CPR. And so someone alerted Lakeside staff, went down and got him. And since then, now Lakeside has a panic button in the gym that alerts. So that's great. But yeah, I mean, he started within seconds. And, fast forward to the emergency room when Dr. Dillon told me in the emergency room, he has an 11% chance of survival, depending on how delayed care was given to him. And in my head, I was like, I know Lakeside. I've lived there my whole life. They're obsessed with not running and around the pool. I mean, like, you're always getting yelled at for something. They are very strict there with their rules and their protocol. And I knew that. And I was like, I bet that it was not long at all. And I talked to one of the staff there later, and they said, yeah, we had somebody on there within seconds. So Dr. Dillon looked a little, maybe not as a hopeful outlook as I did, but I was like, I knew that they were on him. So
well, you bring up such a huge point, as you well know, especially now. If you're in an area, number one, if the cardiac arrest event is witnessed,
yeah,
but then that's first kind of what's needed, because if it's not, unfortunately, it's not going to end up well.
Right.
But if it is witnessed, and then you have someone and an organization like you were, thank goodness, at Lakeside, that has a staff that is trained, that is ready, that has an AED, right? Because the great thing is if they know CPR and they're trained in it, wonderful, they can keep your blood flowing. But if they don't have an AED, then you're kind of waiting for the paramedics to get there. And even as good as they are, as you know, nationwide, it takes, depending on where you're at, a national average is between 7 and 12 minutes.
Right.
And for cardiac arrest, most often that's just not going to cut it. So thank goodness all the pieces were in place.
Yeah.
I saw the video, Karen, that one of the videos I know that happened afterwards, in Louisville. And by the way, am I saying that right? Louisville, right?
You said it right. That was impressive.
I know. In Louisville.
You have to say it right.
You said, when Trey finally regained consciousness, he wanted to write thank you letters to all the responders, which I was like, oh, that's so nice. But then Karen jumps into the video. She said, nah, we're going to do a lot more than that. And I know that you had an event, or probably many events, where you thanked everyone that was responsible for immediately, including the gentleman you're referring to, and the staff administering care to Trey, but then also Dr. Dillon and others. So, so Trey, so you had a little family history, which you now know, or maybe you knew a little bit, but like you said, didn't pay a lot of attention to it, probably like the rest of us, right? And like the rest of us, you're out there trying to get back in shape, keep moving, because you want to get back in the pitch after a back injury. And you're at the club, and thankfully, you were at a place where everyone sprung into action and there was an AED there. So I think that's just an unbelievable lesson for people to hear again and again and again. Your story, you've lived this now for a couple of years. I've been in this industry for 20-some, almost 30 years, if I can believe I'm saying that. But we always have to remember that most people don't know how critical it is for those things to happen. So we always tell these stories here on SaveHeart Stories. That's unbelievable. And again, meeting Karen about a year ago, I think you reached out initially because you're just really trying to learn everything, which has been phenomenal. All your great questions, just picking my brain. I said, please, Karen, ask me about anything. AEDs, indoors, outdoors, what other people are doing around the country. You've really sprung into action in Louisville. Maybe you can tell a little bit about how you both have, since that event and the wonderful save, been doing different things in Louisville to advocate and to place AEDs. We'd love to hear more about that.
When Trey, was talking about like what we were going to do, and, people will always just say, oh, I was just doing my job. And I was like, well, how do you how do you just, and this is not, any shade against anyone else, but I was like, how do you go and like every day your husband is alive and you just walk along? So, yeah, it kind of reminded me of Luke 17:15, where, Jesus heals the lepers and only just a few come back, and, where are the others? But for me, it was like, that's what I just felt like I wanted to do, was come back and be grateful, and yeah, get kind of overwhelmed sometimes with gratitude. Like it just still every day blows me away. So I'm like, all right, well, what am I going to do with that? And the AED was pivotal. And now I can't even remember how it got started, but just starting that GoFundMe and getting the word out. And of course, when Trey went down, Louisville's a big, small town, and the Catholic community is even smaller. So, I mean, it spread like wildfire what happened to Trey. And so, people were helping out so much. But we started a GoFundMe account to purchase AEDs and to place them in areas of town where the cardiac health is the worst and they may not be able to afford an AED. And people just responded really positively. And we had a anonymous donor match all those funds. So it's, about $10,000. And then, so Dave, I don't know, I think you reached out to me and we got to talking, and you made the offer of ask any question. I was like, okay.
I do remember that.
Be careful, because I will ask a lot of questions. And I will say, since then, you, Dave, and everyone that I've come across has been so helpful. And I mean, everyone has just been like, ask me any question, and I do, and they'll tell me anything I want to know. So that has been, and it just, I don't know why, it's just become an obsession now. And it's like, wherever you go, why is there not an AED there? And it's something that is so simple. If we could just put it there, there's so many people's outcomes that weren't like Trey's at all.
Right.
And it could have been the complete opposite.
Yeah.
I mean, he may not be here today because of that. I mean, because of many factors, but the AED was a big one. Yeah. So well said. I joke that Trey's life insurance policy would not allow me to live the lifestyle that I am accustomed to. So it's important that he stay alive. Yeah. And I'm glad he's here.
Well, absolutely. And I just have to say again for our audience how much I love Trey's shirt. So, and and you say that was Karen's idea?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why does that not surprise me? But it's a great message, right? It's a great message.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it spurs some conversation, but it's a great, I might have to actually buy one of those off you. I don't know if you have extras.
Yeah, it's a great shirt.
Actually, it wouldn't really be good. It'd be false advertising though for me. No, but I do laugh, Karen, when you say, I was rereading our initial emails because I was saying, gosh, have I known Karen a year? Has it been 2 years? Because I know it's been a couple years now plus since your event. And I think it was early March, and I think you reached out to our SaveHeart support email. Hey, I'm just trying to do this. You told Trey's story. You shared the GoFundMe, which I reread again this morning.
Oh, that's right.
Because again, life goes fast, and you sometimes forget. So I just wanted to reacquaint myself with the story, and then from there. But we joke about you say be careful how many questions I can ask. But you have to remember, I learn a ton, and others that you've now met in the industry and other folks that have survived or maybe lost a child or lost a loved one. It's amazing because people really want to help people. And I know we all know that inherently, but I think it's a great reminder. It helps us be more grateful for those people, obviously for an event like Trey's where everything came together. That's the most grateful, but just working with, being around people, either at work or in social circles, hopefully everywhere, that are positive, that are grateful for this beautiful life we have and all the blessings we have. And that's why I loved you sharing that verse as well. I think that just fits so well to come back and use that as something for good. And that's why we wanted to have you on SaveHeart Stories.
Mm-hmm.
So, but no, I do love your questions, and you've asked some great ones. And look, we learn nobody knows it all, and there's great things that other folks have been doing around the country. And I've been blessed to work with such folks that are maybe started their own not-for-profit because they lost a child, or maybe they're so sometimes their child was saved, but they're doing things in their community, be it like you are, advocating for SCA awareness. How this is a problem, folks, and we need to be aware of when it happens. We've got to have AEDs, more AEDs out there. We've got to be trained in CPR, at least be aware of how to do it and how to react when you do see a sudden cardiac arrest emergency. Just yesterday, I was at a student heart screening for youth at Geneva High School here locally in Illinois. I work with a wonderful organization called the Christopher Larson Big Heart Memorial Foundation. That was founded by his parents after he passed, at the age of, I think he was 22 at the time. But they do screenings every other year at their local high school, and they got 1,500 kids,
that's great.
every other that go do this. And it's just to flag things that may exist. And actually, Trey, I did want to ask about that for you. Was there something they uncovered for you after your event that say, hey, here's what you have or had, or is it just one of these with sudden cardiac arrest, sometimes unexplained mysteries of we're not sure why it happened? Was there a diagnosis that was done?
Yeah. I mean, I had 2 arteries that were over 90% clogged.
Yeah. Wow.
So, and had no idea about that fact.
Unbelievable.
Which is kind of incredible. My dad had triple bypass at age 69, and both of his parents died of heart attacks at 69. So the history was pretty clear, so really should have done a little better preventive care. But at the same time, I was exercising, felt fine. So in that sense, the doctor said your warning system stinks, but I had no complaints about and it was active.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the nature. It's funny. So it sounds like you had obviously some blockage, which can more relate to a heart attack. But a lot of times, heart attacks and cardiac arrest, the resulting or separate electrical malfunctions, can happen in conjunction. And so there's a reason it's called sudden cardiac arrest. And I'm sure you go back and say, geez, I wish I would have known more about this. But God bless you for, again, being here and telling your story so that others can maybe take some proactive steps or check with their doctor. But there's a reason why they call it sudden, because people don't know, and it can happen. Yes, it can happen from a blunt force trauma, commodio cordis, like Damar Hamlin, and if you get struck. But most often it's because there's some underlying condition we don't know about. We feel good. There's no warning signs usually with cardiac arrest, like there is with a heart attack. When maybe you feel tingling in your arm or you feel tightness, you're feeling good and you're getting ready to go back on the pitch the following week. So you want to get your cardio up, and it just happens, and it happens out of nowhere. And all of a sudden your vital organs just basically have no blood or oxygen to them. And that's the tragedy and urgency of cardiac arrest, which you now know all too well. So, well, listen, to transition. So Karen, you take this, you for your Bible verse, you get involved. You want to come back and tell people about this, and tell us about some of the great things you've been doing there locally, then in Louisville. I know you always say, "Oh, I'm not doing enough, and it's happening too slow," and only because I've been around so long. I know folks that always say that, and then all of a sudden, a year later or 6 months, 2 years, they're continue to do unbelievable things, but then others learn from them. So don't get frustrated. You're doing a lot of great things, and I know some other things are coming. So
yeah. And gosh, I can't believe that it's been 2 years. That has gone really fast. I feel like we haven't done a ton, but we have a lot of stuff in the works, and which is I'm totally fine with. That's fine. Raising that money was incredible. I would say along the way, thank goodness for social media. We don't have tons of Facebook friends, but everybody knew what was happening to Trey, what happened. They're like, God, I thought he was really fit. I thought that I thought he was pretty healthy. Everyone was surprised. So the big thing was kind of riding that wave of like, he survived. We're starting this fund. Here's what we're going to do. And then, giving updates all the time on Facebook about what we're doing. So we, with that money, donated one to the Delta Foundation in Portland. And Portland is kind of in the west end of Louisville, and it's an after school care, but they also have a gym. And this place it's perfect because it serves kids, and it has, after school tutoring programs and stuff. Not only do they have a gym that the kids use after school, but the guy, Wes Hinton, he also rents it out on the weekends.
Wow.
So they have baby showers there. Yeah. They have basketball. They have like wrestling tournaments there. So this is perfect. Yeah. And, he was more than happy to take it, and we installed it. And then SaveHeart grocery store, which is only a couple blocks away from them. They are like, yep, we'll take one. That went up pretty fast. They were more than happy to. Got in touch with the Urban League and gave them one. And that was really exciting. So now we've got 2 earmarked for Habitat for Humanity. So they will have one to take to their work sites.
Yes.
And so actually next Tuesday, I have a training with Habitat to train their staff on how to do hands-on only CPR. And we'll be training the volunteers as well. So, and then the other one that I really want to do is the Dirt Bowl. If it's pretty famous Dirt Bowl league. It's a basketball league in the summer, and they play in Iroquois Park, and it is hot as Hades in there sometimes, and that really worries me. Yeah. But they don't have an AED on site. They don't need one all year long, sure. But I didn't get them in time for this year, but I will this summer and have one there. And that's a great place to do education. And I could go down like a million. I've told you this before, like there's a picture, a drawing I have of an octopus in my office. It's like, I want to do this and this and this and this. And you can't do it all. But, right. Part of these 2 years, it's been so much of it has just been learning, so much. And just telling people along the way, putting up stuff on Facebook about the importance of cardiac scans. And I've had friends who went and did it, and they said, I'm glad I did. Things look clear. And one of them was like, yeah, mine didn't look great, but I got my brother too, and his wasn't great. Yeah. So and then people are starting to look more for AEDs. They'll say like, oh, I went to this place and I thought of Trey, there's an AED there. They wouldn't have noticed that before.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, which is really cool.
You've got, even though you said we haven't done much, even all those stories you're telling now.
Yeah,
you've placed some AEDs out there. You've got other ones that people know Trey's story now. Now they realize, now I'm looking where the AED is. Now I'm going to go get scanned. Right. That's all phenomenal stuff. It may not feel like you're doing a lot, but you are. And that all matters, Yeah.
So. I think there'll be more. I think it's really starting to plug along. And I think things are going to start really to come into fruition now. But just tons of just so much learning. And it's really been exciting. It's fun to watch, and it's fun to be a part of that survivor community.
Absolutely. And you share stories, and you all learn from each other, and then others learn, and that's how it works. Yeah. And, I always have enjoyed our conversations. And again, it's so great now to have you both here. We're grateful that you're both here and telling the story and sharing this with our audience. Continue, please, to use us and me as a resource. I know there's others now that which is wonderful. It is a small community. Everyone's rowing in the same direction, whether it's AED manufacturers that compete with each other or outdoor cabinet manufacturers. We all have our own interests, but there's really a lot of overlapping activities and really aligned missions that we all have. And I think it's more like that it's ever been, from someone that's been in the industry for almost 30 years. It is really a great thing. A lot of great legislation is either being passed or is being talked about. More and more people know about AEDs. and know about the importance because of stories like Trey's and the work that you both are doing. So
Right.
we're grateful to hear all these.
Yeah.
What else can people do if they want to help out you and what you're doing there locally in Louisville? Can they reach out to you? Is there a website or a Facebook page or something like that?
I don't have a website. And, I need to probably transition to a different Facebook page, but I have a feeling that if I were to, that all of my friends may not come because they're already so tired of seeing all my posts. I kind of wonder, I'm like, I wonder how many friends have snoozed me by now. Like,
No way.
but it's been fun. I mean, like the thing that I would say is, I've been taught now I'm not a certified instructor to teach CPR, but I can teach hands-on only CPR. So, I'm flexible, and, if people ever want to reach out in this community, and I tell people all the time, like, I just bought like 4 mannequins and 4 trainers and all excited. And like, I'm the big goober. I'd be more than happy to come to your house and train you. And, when you're 50 years old, you don't care how goofy you look anymore. So I don't have any problem doing that.
I'm an example of that. That's for sure.
Just don't care. No, it's really nice.
That's why.
Yeah.
It actually is. I tell you. No, but it is great to hear the story and what you all are doing, and continue to use as a resource. We're going to, of course, publish this through our channels, which obviously you can do as well. And when we're ready in a week or two. And, in the meantime, if anyone in the audience wants to get in touch with Karen or anything that we're doing, please let us know and we'll connect the dots.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you wanted to share just before we sign off and continue working together out there?
Yeah. Well, I just want to, give props to you, Dave. You've not only answered so many of my questions, but you've kind of been a little bit of my therapist too, which is like, no. It's well, and you and Matt Mangine too from One Shot have been really helpful in not just providing information, but also being able to temper this energy too, where you've been like, you just put the information out there and people, put a bug in their ear and don't chase them down. They'll come when they come, and you give them what you can. I'm really excited that the Belknap Neighborhood Association where we live, we won a AED and a cabinet that's going to be installed in the fall. Yeah. So this is going to be fun to see, like, okay, it's coming. And all right, what do we have to do? We have to get an electrician to get hooked up to the power. Who do we talk to? Do we talk to the city to get hooked up to the power? Now I'm talking to the guy who owns the property, and knock on wood, talked to him the other day. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but like, he was so on board. Yeah. He didn't even know what an AED was. Yeah. And by the end of the conversation, he's like, yeah, that sounds like a great thing. And so, hopefully things will go smoothly. Yeah. But working with this association, it's from start to finish. So what we're hoping for, and the Belknap Neighborhood Association really wants to be a pilot for the city. Like, okay, we did this here. Phenomenal. This looks really good. Yes. Let's do it in other parts of town, because we don't have cabinets outdoors. I mean, it's crazy. But so that's why that's where I would like them more, is outdoors. Yeah. So you and I will be chatting more often.
I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And you know what? Yeah. You're going to be amazed. I'm going to make a prediction that 6 months from now, certainly a year from now, you're going to look back and say, wow, now we've got a couple of these up. And now and all of a sudden what happens is people put one outdoors at the park or at the association, right in a Main Street area, a nice village area like you're doing, I think, at Belknap. And not only do more people know about it there, then it starts to just spread. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of what you're doing, and the beauty of Trey's story. So believe me, I'll come back and and I'll say, remember I told you so? And then you'll say,
oh yeah. Right. Oh yeah.
But it's all because of your work. And so
Yeah.
Again, we're just grateful to have you both here. That's our message, really. When I sign off, I always say be grateful every day, like you both are. And it's a pleasure to know you both. And God bless you, Trey, for being here to share your story with us, and Karen for all your work ever since.
Yeah.
So,
and thank you for everything that you do, Dave. I love these podcasts. I think they're always so interesting, and shared them with my mom, and she's not that great with technology. She's like, that was a great story. I was like, I know, they're really incredible. Everybody has a great story. Yeah. So I really appreciate you giving us an opportunity to tell it.
It's my pleasure. Well, listen, we wanted to thank you, our audience, for being here and listening to Trey's story and meeting Karen and Trey. And to you both, again, thank you for being our guest here on SaveHeart Stories. Until next time, again, be grateful every day, pay it forward, learn CPR, place AEDs, and until then, God bless you all.
This has been the SaveHeart Stories podcast with Dave Fritzsche, AED industry veteran and founder of SaveHeart by HeartNation. To learn more about how outdoor AEDs can keep your community safer, call 312-953-6928 or email Dave at saveheart.life. Proudly made in the USA, SaveHeart's highly visible, alarmed, lighted, temperature-controlled, and 24/7 monitored outdoor cabinets provide immediate visibility and access to life-saving AEDs. Stop the bleed kits, Narcan, and other emergency supplies. They are ideal for parks, athletic fields, trails, schools and universities, marinas, business districts, and any outdoor locations where people congregate. Click on www.saveheart.life for more information. SaveHeart Stories is a presentation of SaveHeart by HeartNation.